Hello, everybody, and welcome back. A few days ago, I did Joe Biden's pathways to victory in the 2020 presidential election, and I thought, why not make a pathways for Donald Trump to win the presidency as well? Now, obviously, in its most basic form, the path for Donald Trump to win a second term in the White House is really rather simple. Win all of the states you did in 2016. Now, that will probably be a lot harder than first imagined, given that Joe Biden is up 8.5 points nationally against Donald Trump in national polls. Now, obviously, there's the argument to be made that we take national polls at this point in time with a grain of salt, which there's definitely a substantial argument for, given that the polls at this point in 2016 were also favoring Hillary Clinton, that is, extremely heavily over Donald Trump. And even in the days leading up to the presidential election, they had her up 4 to 5 national points, and she only ended up winning by about 2 points nationwide. So obviously polls don't tell the entire story. But that being said, an 8.5 point national lead for Joe Biden over Donald Trump should be extremely worrying for his campaign. It means that states like Michigan are extremely likely to flip back in the Democrats' favor, given that Michigan itself typically elects Democratic candidates. Barack Obama, that is, won in 2012 by 9 points over Mitt Romney, only for Donald Trump to defeat Hillary Clinton by 0.3 points in 2016. I think any chance of the Republicans holding on to the state of Michigan is dwindling, or was already scarce, and is dwindling even more now with all these polls and everything that is going on. So let's assume that Michigan flips in favor of Joe Biden. Now, what else does Donald Trump need to hold on to win the presidential election? The number one state that he absolutely must hold on to in this election is the state of Florida. Because if Florida goes blue, it turns into an extremely, extremely narrow path for his reelection. That is because Florida holds 29 electoral votes. These are crucial in every single election. He won there in 2016, which was really his biggest and most important accomplishment, given that Hillary Clinton was campaigning there extremely heavily and was basically centering her entire campaign around winning Florida, which in turn, you could argue, cost her in the Midwest, in the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. The other state that Donald Trump absolutely, well, I wouldn't say necessarily must, but really needs to try and hold on to is the state of Pennsylvania. Now, that being said, it's going to be extremely tough to do so, given that Pennsylvania is Joe Biden's home state, and it's a state where the voters themselves within the state, he is focusing his campaign on. So, say Joe Biden is able to flip the states of Michigan and Pennsylvania, which are looking increasingly more likely. It still means that Donald Trump will win the presidency with 270 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 268. So what else does Donald Trump need to hold on to? Well, he needs to hold on to every single other state. Any other flipping, besides maybe you say if Joe Biden is able to flip back Maine's second congressional district, then we see ourselves turn into a 269 to 269 tie, that is, but we're going to ignore that for now. If Joe Biden is able to flip Michigan and Pennsylvania, Donald Trump will need to carry every single other state he won in 2016. That will mean that he has to hold on to a typical Democrat state in Wisconsin, which he won extremely narrowly in 2016. That also means he will have to hold on to the state of Arizona, which is shifting more and more into the Democrats' favor and is basically inevitably going to shift to the Democrats, whether that's in 2020 or 2024. Donald Trump has to hope that it will be in 2024 if he wants another 4 years in office, because Arizona is moving further and further left, especially with an extremely unpopular senator in Martha McSally near the top of the ticket in that Senate race. So he has to hold on to Arizona. He has to hold on to Wisconsin. These are two states that he absolutely must hold on to. And it also goes without saying that he absolutely has to hold on to the states of Ohio and Iowa, as well as Georgia and Texas. If Texas goes, the election is over. If he loses Texas, the election is 100% over. If he loses Wisconsin and Arizona, he still has a slight chance, a minimum one, though, at that. If he loses Texas, the election is over. If he loses Florida, the election is almost certainly over. That is how narrow the path to victory for Donald Trump is in comparison to most incumbent presidents. Now, usually when an incumbent president heads to re-election, they actually improve upon their first election numbers. However, that changed in 2012 when Barack Obama lost in the states of Indiana and North Carolina, and his electoral numbers actually went down from 2008. Now, all signs are pointing to the same thing happening to Donald Trump. But what this video wanted to point out was the states that he absolutely has to hold on to and focus on in order to win the 2020 presidential election. He can lose the state of Michigan. He probably will lose the state of Michigan. He can hypothetically lose the state of Pennsylvania. And as things are looking right now, he probably will lose the state of Pennsylvania. So he has to hold on to Wisconsin. He has to hold on to Arizona to hold even a 2-point electoral lead over Joe Biden. That is how narrow this path is for both candidates as things stand right now. Joe Biden, however, does have to do the uphill battle. He has to flip states from 2016, so that is something that goes in favor of Donald Trump. He has the incumbency factor heading into this election, and he will be able to fight to hold on to states. And that is a dynamic that is very different from having to go out and win more states. And that is the situation that Joe Biden has found himself in. But that is all for today's video. It was really just a rant, or I guess you could say, or just a discussion. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Tune in next time.